To all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world, to AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. The Senate has expressed concern over what it describes as inadequate funding of the nation's labor and employment sector. The alarm was raised during the budget defense session before the Senate Committee on Appropriations, where the proposed allocation of about 183.6 billion naira to the Ministry of Labor and Employment and its agencies came under scrutiny. National Assembly correspondent Anete Patrick reports.
Chairman of the Senate Committee on Labor, Employment and Productivity, Senator Dinketh Plank, said despite the proposed figure, the ministry is grappling with serious funding gaps that are hampering its operations. He noted that critical responsibilities such as factory inspections, enforcement of labor standards, and infrastructure development are being affected, with some agencies lacking sufficient capital project and operational support to function effectively.
Most of the capital project you see here, they are coming from constituency projects. The main ministry and the main agencies do not have sufficient capital projects.
Vice Chairman of the committee, Senator Tahir Mongono, stressed that adequate funding of the labor sector is essential to maintaining industrial harmony, boosting job creation, and driving sustainable economic growth. He warned that neglecting the sector could undermine workforce stability and national productivity.
The adequate funding of the employment, labor, and productivity sector is very important for the attainment of industrial harmony in the country.
Other lawmakers, including Senator Issa Jibrin, representing Kogi East, and Senator Simon Lalong, representing Plateau South, also called for improved financial support, emphasizing the ministry's central role in manpower planning, skills development, and national productivity.
If we are able to provide the necessary infrastructure there, this needs to be able to generate a lot of revenue from federal ministries and various MDAs. We can even make it compulsory.
If we want the nation to move, Federal Ministry of Labor, Employment and Productivity must get a lot of budget for training, for employment, for all the stuff that will keep the nation moving.
Lawmakers say strengthening the labor and empowerment sector through adequate funding will not only enhance regulatory oversight, but also promote decent work standards and support Nigeria's broader economic reform agenda. From the National Assembly, Anete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has removed Kayode Egbetokun from his position as Inspector General of Police. Senior police officials and sources within the Police Service Commission confirmed the development that Tinubu ordered Egbetokun's removal from office. He is to be succeeded by Tunji Disu, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of the Force Criminal Investigation Department Annex at Lagmon, Lagos. Another source alleged that the president asked him to step aside amid mounting controversies and health concerns. The National Assembly has postponed the resumption of plenary from Tuesday yesterday, 2026, to Thursday, March 5th, 2026. The decision was convened in a statement issued by the clerk to the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlana. Ogunlana attributed the shift to the need for committees to conclude ongoing budget defense sessions. Over now to the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation has received a certificate of air quality from the Environmental Health Council of Nigeria under the Ministry of Environment. The recognition is part of the ongoing greenhouse gas emissions initiative under the National Air Quality Program. Obong Usoro tells us more.
Officials of the Environmental Health Council of Nigeria conducted emission tests at the office of the head of service generating plant before and after introducing a fuel additive known as Oxaterm under the National Clean Air Program. Initial readings showed hydrocarbon levels at 500 parts per million. After the additive was introduced, carbon monoxide reduced to 420 parts per million, while hydrocarbons dropped to 220 parts per million. Combustion efficiency also improved. The registrar of Econ, Yakubu Mohammed Baba, said the result highlights the effectiveness of a proper emission monitoring and mitigation in public institutions.
We need to reduce this emission for the protection of public health. You are quite aware that so many vulnerable groups, more especially women and children, are exposed to a lot of emission as a result of pollution caused by mobile and non-mobile engines. So we came up with that initiative so that we can be able to reduce the disease burden for the protection of public health.
The director representing the Office of the Head of Service thanked Econ and reaffirmed the office commitment to maintaining high environmental standards.
Habilizing with one of your top officers who have been coming around. Unfortunately, the permanent secretary, the head of service, they are involved in the farm set selection program.
The initiative forms part of Nigeria's broader efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote cleaner air. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News, Abuja.
State Governor Umaru Bago has expressed determination of his administration to partner with development agencies to improve the living conditions of the people of the state. The governor announced this when he received the country director of the United Nations Development Program and German government representative on a courtesy visit. Sadia Yakubu has the rest of the story.
Governor Umar Bago appreciates the development partners for their sustained collaborations and support for the growth and development of Niger State. Bago particularly thanked the UNDP for including Niger State being a North Central state in the Northwest Prevention Facility project, saying it was strategic considering the fact that the state is also being confronted by activities of terrorists. The governor also stated that improving the lives and livelihoods of the victims of the nefarious activities of bandits and terrorism is important, and that the state government, in partnership with UNDP and the German government, is already building sustainable resettlement homes and intervening in other areas such as health, and his administration is open to more collaborations with the development partners in various areas.
It's holistic, and we really appreciate that, okay, we're coming into partnership to change this. When you talk about innovative space, we've already started in the United States. People need to, outside the classroom, people need to be able to showcase their skills. So there are people who are talented, they have other skills beyond just reading and writing. With these kind of facilities where they have access to internet, access to computers, access to...
The resident representative of UNDP in Nigeria, Elsie Atafwa, said the UNDP and the German government have been great partners to Niger State in providing humanitarian support. She said their visit is to discuss many areas of interventions to scale up the investment on ground, following the activities of bandits and terrorists in some parts of the state, and suggested other areas of collaboration to include energy, youth empowerment, trade, investment, financing, among others.
So we're also here to appreciate you for co-investing with us, and so, but we have been testing an idea around mini grids, and we have just installed a 75 megawatts in one of the local government areas. We are looking forward to you launching it, but it's a seed to say that it is possible.
The Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Mustafa Ndajuwo, highlighted how the present administration has been consistent in engaging development partners to improve the lives of the citizens. The project, funded by partners including UNDP, Germany, and Norway, with counterpart contributions from the benefiting state government to address root causes of insecurity and climate vulnerabilities, promotes peace building, livelihood restoration, and building community resilience. Sadia Yakubu, Global Television.
Government has called on commercial transportation operators across the state to support her effort to end the sit-at-home by resuming full operations on Mondays. The Commissioner of Information, Dr. Law Mefo, during a one-day training program for commercial drivers and riders in the state in Akwa, noted that full operation of transporters was needed in ending the sit-at-home in the state. Mefo emphasized the crucial role transporters play in reviving the state's economy, especially on Mondays. Over now to Bayelsa State House of Assembly has confirmed the appointment of Pastor Peter Akwe as the state's new deputy governor. The Assembly confirms Akwe's appointment during its plenary session. Akwe previously served as Chief of Staff to Governor Doye Diri before his nomination for the deputy governorship. African Democratic Congress, ADC, candidate in the Abuja Municipal Area Council chairmanship election, Dr. Moses Paul, has rejected the outcome of the February 21st poll, alleging widespread irregularities and insisting that the declared results did not reflect the true will of the people. The Labour Party also rejected the outcome of Saturday's Abuja Municipal Area Council chairmanship election, describing the process as a brazen assault on democracy. The Independent National Electoral Commission declared Christopher Mekalangu of the All Progressive Congress as the elected chairman of the Abuja Municipal Area Council. The chairmanship candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance in the February 21st Abuja Municipal Area Council election, Eze Chukwu, says he will not challenge the victory of the All Progressive Congress. Chukwu stated this in a congratulatory message to the APC candidate Christopher Mekalangu, who was declared winner by the Independent National Electoral Commission. He described the poll as peaceful and orderly, adding that the safety recorded during the campaign and on election day was a victory for democracy. Across Nigeria, young people are increasingly being drawn into election-related violence. Some are armed and even given drugs to intimidate voters. In this report, Kabir Hassan takes the conversation to the streets of Abuja to hear directly from the youths about the dangers and who is responsible. The report.
As Nigeria's election draws near, a worrying trend is emerging across the country. Young people, often unemployed and vulnerable, are being recruited as political enforcers, some armed with drugs and dangerous weapons, while politicians benefit. This youth faces immense risks, and the nation's democracy is threatened. Today we explore why this is happening, who is responsible, and what can be done to protect Nigerian youths and safeguard the electoral process.
Many Nigerians in the nation's capital say poverty, unemployment, and weak law enforcement have made youths vulnerable to exploitation during political campaigns. Parents, political parties, and government authorities all share responsibility for addressing this challenge before election day.
This kind of attitude or character is a threat to democracy itself, and it may likely consume our democracy, unfortunately. Recruiting young people as a tout or to disrupt election during voting is unacceptable.
It's very unfortunate. Our youth nowadays, they become a politician tag, which is very, very unfair, because it will cause many effects to Nigerian society.
It's very, very dangerous.
Others blame a combination of parents, government, and societal pressure for the increasing involvement of youth in political clashes.
Unemployment that caused all this. If they have been employed, so there will not be poverty, at least they will have something doing reasonable. It will not allow them to be going for politicians to cause all these things that is happening in the country.
Of this government not to give the youth employment or to empower them or to create opportunity for them, they would rather use them for political purposes. And
is a parent not train their children.
However, parents and elders urge young people to resist being drawn into political violence and focus on building their futures.
Don't allow somebody there, his children are not there, he's using you. It shouldn't be like that.
To avoid, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to the youth. It's very, very dangerous.
Introduce technology into the system. There will be no need for any thuggery.
As Nigerians prepare for the election, the role of youth in political process remains a double-edged sword. While they are the backbone of the nation's future, their exploitation as political enforcers threatens both the safety and integrity of democracy. Many says the solution lies in youth empowerment, civic education, and strict enforcement of the law. The hope is that when election day comes, Nigerians will be celebrated as voters, not as an instrument used for violence. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
In another development, Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has directed security agencies to intensify operations and apprehend those responsible for Sunday's deadly attack in Darowa Babuje, Birkin-Ladi local government area, which claimed the lives of at least 10 innocent people. The governor gave the directive in a statement signed by the Commissioner for Information, Joyce Ramnam. The governor condemned the barbaric and senseless killings, describing them as a setback amid recent gains in peace through dialogue and community engagement. The federal government has withdrawn the forgery charge brought against a constitutional lawyer, Professor Mike Ozoheme. The charge was filed by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, following the judgment of a London court in respect of a property belonging to former Federal Capital Territory Minister, the late General Jeremiah Hussaini. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation had last month taken over the case for effective prosecution. Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Kaduna, Matthew Indagose, has been elected president of the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria is the highest body of the Catholic Church in Nigeria, coordinating spiritual leadership and social engagement, serving as a moral voice while uniting bishops, cleric, and the faithful and broader Nigerian society. Indagose was elected alongside other executive members at the ongoing 2026 first plenary meeting of Catholic bishops in Abuja. He succeeds Lucius Ogorji, Archbishop of Owerri, whose 4-year tenure expires this February. A statement by the Secretary General of the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, Michael Banjo, said the newly elected officials will be formally presented at the closing ceremony of the plenary on Wednesday. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NATCON, has directed state Muslim pilgrims' welfare boards to immediately refund intending pilgrims who could not be registered for the 2026 Hajj as Saudi Arabia's visa deadline approaches. Directive was issued during a strategic stakeholders meeting held at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja, where NATCON reaffirmed its commitment to transparency, professionalism, and strict regulatory oversight in the conduct of the 2026 pilgrimage. The meeting was attended by commissioners, board members, executive secretaries, and chairman of state pilgrim welfare boards, members of the Forum of State Executive Secretaries, the medical mission team, and management staff. You are watching the live broadcast of AM News. AM News continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello and thank you for joining us. Let's begin in the northern and central parts of the country, where visibility remains generally poor across many areas, and by Wednesday we expect a further reduction due to increased Saharan dust in the atmosphere. In several locations, visibilities are expected to drop below 5,000 meters. Thick dust haze is expected over parts of Kano, Katsina, some parts of Yobe and Borno states, where conditions may be significantly impaired. Other areas across the northwest and central will experience moderate dust haze. We strongly advise airline operators to obtain the latest e-flight folder and weather updates before any flight operations. And down south, we expect slightly hazy conditions with a mix of cloud patches and sunshine intervals. And as the day progresses, there is a good chance of isolated thunderstorms over the coastal parts of Edo, Delta, some parts of Lagos, Ondo, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers State. Please stay updated with the latest forecast and plan your activities accordingly. I remain Joyce Ogunleye, and I'll see you again.
You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the House of Representatives has intensified efforts to reposition Nigeria's renewable energy sector charging ministries, departments, and agencies to source at least 50% of their electricity needs from renewable energy. National Assembly correspondent Anete Patrick reports.
The House Committee on Renewable Energy convened an investigative hearing to examine the domiciliation of green energy projects, foreign grants and investments received since 2015, and the level of renewable energy utilization across federal MDAs. Declaring the session open, Speaker of the House, Tajudeen Abbas, described the exercise as a crucial parliamentary mandate backed by the authority of the National Assembly. Represented by Ibrahim Halims, the Speaker urged stakeholders to see the hearing as a patriotic duty aimed at strengthening institutional integrity and enhancing national development.
The committee was mandated to investigate foreign grants and investment received in the renewable energy sector from 2015 to date, and the utilization of renewable energy in MDAs.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, represented by the Director General of the Voice of Nigeria, Jibrin Ndes, pledged the support of government media platforms in driving public enlightenment on renewable energy adoption. He also clarified that no solar street lights contracts have been awarded by the Voice of Nigeria.
We have a farm, a solar farm, in our desire to transit, because currently, based on the support that we are getting from the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we are reactivating moribund transmitter.
Chairman of the committee, Afam Ogene, said the hearing consolidates 3 separate House mandates, including the probe of foreign grants, green projects, domiciliation, and renewable energy utilization in MDAs. He lamented economic losses linked to poor implementation, citing widespread cases of dysfunctional solar street lights and weak oversight.
But you also let the Honorable Minister know that this committee would like to know what he has done in his own ministry in that regard. And speaking for yourself as head of a parastatal.
Tensions rose, however, over the absence of the Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu. Lawmakers resolved that if he fails to appear before the committee on Wednesday, 25th February 2026, the Inspector General of Police should compel his appearance. From the National Assembly, Anete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
On the foreign news now, United Nations Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher says the impact of cuts is adversely impacting relief effort on global scale. Fletcher said this while on a visit to a hospital in South Sudan as the country sees a surge of fighting in its eastern states, where the UN estimates that at least 280,000 people have been displaced in the state since December. Uyi Agbomofuegbe tells us more.
Fletcher issued a stark warning denouncing what he referred to as the impact of cuts to aid in war-torn Sudan. The majority of the fighting is concentrated in eastern Jonglei state, where, according to the UN, some 280,000 people have been displaced since December. Doctors say they are overwhelmed with casualties.
You're seeing the impact of cuts, and the generator is not on for very long, and who knows where that funding is really going to come from in the future. And you're seeing the impact of a completely unnecessary war, a war for resources that people here will never themselves see. And they're asking me, is help coming? And I hope it is, but I don't know whether I can give them that reassurance.
The war has largely pitted the two main ethnic groups against one another, the Dinka, who mostly back President Kiir, and the Noa, mostly with Riek Machar, the country's former vice president. Uyi Agbomofuegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
In sports now, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum offered full guarantees for the safety of football fans at World Cup games in a violence-plagued city. And Sheinbaum insisted there was no risk to fans visiting the city in June for 4 matches. In remarks coming after a wave of violence sparked by the ministry's killing of drug lord Namerso El Marcho, The leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, one of the most wanted men in Mexico and the United States, was killed in a military operation some 130 kilometers, 80 miles from Jalisco state capital on Sunday. The cartel reached with fury, engaging in firefights with security forces that left dozens dead across Mexico, both soldiers and cartel members, and sent tourists and residents fleeing for cover. Now that's it on AM News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Up next is Global Morning. Stay tuned.